I'm giving somebody the blues today.
This is a news article that comes from IGN, and it's about Tekken, and it's from Harada. Harada says casual fighting game fans would struggle to master a new Tekken Tag tournament. Better off a separate mode within a standard Tekken game. Woo! Yee. This news article about to be fun, bro. I'm rubbing my hands together like the meme. Oh, this about to be fun. Tekken Tag Tournament 2 is very fun. I played it almost every day. It's fun. The reason why it's fun is because it's fun to try and see what you can do, like a sandbox. It's the best Tekken sandbox game ever created. But Tekken is not supposed to be a sandbox game. It's not Minecraft. It's not, GTA. It's not, Battlefield. It's not a do your own thing type of game. It's supposed to be a competitive game with competitive integrity. You're supposed to lab it. You're supposed to master it. And this game was so chaotic to where you could not do that. Pro players who master every Tekken game was not able to master Tekken Tag Tournament 2. It was just too many characters, too many combinations, too many scenarios, too many setups. It was just too much for a competitive player to master. But then when you talk about the casual players, according to the developers, struggle to play against multiple characters. You're fighting against Yoshimitsu. I press the button. Now all of a sudden you're fighting against Armor King. Do you know the matchup of both? And can your brain switch back and forth between the two? Because yes, we all know what it's like to fight against Yoshimitsu, but Yoshimitsu requires a certain level of patience, a certain level of understanding, awareness. But then if I switch buttons and I play Harada, now it's a totally different environment. And I'm like, ha, 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 all in your face. Casual players struggled to keep up with that rapid transition in between the different play styles that the characters offer. They drowned in it. They also struggled to pilot the characters. And this is where I can speak from personal experience. We're really on both. But really, when I played Tekken Tag Tournament 2, I did not get good at the game. I played Yoshimitsu as a primary, and I had like 20 characters as a secondary. And as such, expanding stretching myself so thin, I couldn't learn the game. But once I locked into just Yoshimitsu, I only played Yoshimitsu, that's when I started to get much better at the game and started to grasp everything that Tekken was. So I'm literally a product of like Tekken Tag Tournament 2 not being a good game for the casual person. I couldn't deal with all of these matchups, but then also I couldn't get good at the game because I was stretching myself too thin. A lot of people also say that Tekken Tag Tournament 2 failed because bad marketing, and that is just simply not true. If you're one of those people who believe that Tekken Tag Tournament 2 failed because of bad marketing, I just think that you're not thinking deeply about it. I mean, the trailers that this game has had was far better and far more grand than every Tekken. Don't just disagree. Go and look up Tekken Tag Tournament 2 trailers and see how great they are. They had Snoop Dogg make a whole music video for the game. That game was featured at, I believe, Evo or something. It had its own separate conventions. There was vehicles wrapped in, Tekken Tag Tournament 2 marketing. That game was marketed so hard, and for whatever reason, it just did not land. And once again, the way that I found out about Tekken Tag Tournament 2 is because I seen commercials. For also those who don't know, there's a cycle here. The cycle is every 3 games you get a tag. So Tekken 1, 2, 3, tag 1. 4, 5, 6, tag 2. 7, 8, 9, tag 3. So that's where it should fall if they decide to do it. Okay, so let's just look at Harada's quote. Screw all of that IGN yip. Back in 1999, when I made the original Tekken Tag Tournament, each character had so many moves in a 3D fighter. Compared to these other games, that there's so much to learn just one character. Most characters in the game, except for 3, are all at 100 and above. The quote says, and then to pair these two, even though back then Tag 1 had a lot of characters were called compatible, or you had versions that looked different, but there's a similar type of move list. Whereas the Tekken series progressed, the characters became more unique in their move sets. So basically what he's saying there is that back in Tag 1, a lot of characters were clones. As the game progressed, characters was very different. I mean, take Yoshimitsu and Kunimitsu as an example. So it's even more involved to try and learn and master a character, and then another character on top of that. I just talked about that, right? And then when you throw in the combination of two and your opponent characters, there's just so much knowledge that's necessary to enjoy the game. So hardcore, they ate it up, but your average player, it was very hard to gain more casual audience. So if we could do it again, rather than have a standalone game, it would probably be better to have it as some kind of separate mode within normal Tekken franchise.
So just about Tag, please hold off on that. As we mentioned way back when we did Tag 2, it's when you try to have 4 characters on screen at the same time, obviously it really limits your resources, so the stage would have to be really pared down to something that's not that immersive. So that's not really realistic at this point, at the moment, so please hold off on the Tag comments for now. And
even though the stages in Tekken 8 is massive, I mean, we could see with the heat system and a tailspin alone that you could travel any stage in this game at ease. Now imagine if you could do a heat, tailspin, and then bound. Bound is basically tagging in the second person. All of these stages will feel like you're fighting inside of a refrigerator. But then also you talk about, and this is something that people already critique Tekken 8 about, is the visual clutter, right? There's so much effects everywhere. There's so much stuff flying everywhere. It's too noisy. And when you have 4 characters on the screen, that's going to be amplified even more. So those are the reasons why they said to wait then. But let's continue reading this news article to see if their opinion changes. Nakatu and myself, we probably grew up in arcades playing while he was making Tag 1. I guess we're more on the hardcore side of being able to use several characters and such, and we love Tag 2. But we are fully aware that there are just so many people that couldn't get a handle on it because of all the knowledge involved. You have that section where Harada says it's probably best to do a game mode, but then we also have that clip where the developer said a game mode is probably not likely for Tekken 8. So the question then becomes, for the future game, Tekken 9, will they make that game from the ground up to include team tag mode? And basically what that would mean is that you don't put tailspins everywhere, you don't put heat everywhere, you make the stages much bigger, you make the gameplay a little bit more simple in terms of visual clarity so you can see the 4 characters. They would have to do a lot to the gameplay itself, going off of their own words, to make tag work. I mean, I think this would give people hope, for people who like the tag system itself, but also the people who view the tag franchise as this like everyone is here moment. That is probably dead, right? If they do a tag mode, that does not mean that it will be a tag roster. And personally, I think that even if they did a Tag 3, it would not be a tag roster. The developers have also said multiple times that they will not do a roster of 60. Now, will they do one of 50? Will they do one of 40? With DLC, they'll probably get to those numbers, but they're not going to start their base roster off at 50, right? And also taking into consideration all the new characters that's being created. Since Tag 2, there's probably been about 20 or so new characters. So those characters would take priority over some of the fan favorites of prior generations. And the people who look forward to a Tag 3, they do so because they think Baek-Dusan and Michelle and Japapi will be there. But how can they be there when you need to make room for Reina, Marizu, and Victor?